Hello everyone, just bringing you a webinar to go with the news release that we've just put out this morning. I've got Andrew Smith, our VP Exploration, with me. He's actually down on site and getting things up and running. We're already sort of moving quite quickly on site with actually 2 diamond rigs running. So we're just going to sort of have a little bit of a chat about what's coming up in 2025 and where we think that's going to take us, and maybe a bit of a we've got to bring in the fantastic year that we had in 2024, because that's what creates our plans for this year. I think really in summary, there's sort of 2 parts for us for 2025, and one of the most exciting parts of that is actually bringing in our 100% Awale targets, which we're doing geophysics on right now on that Fremen target, which is a long strike from BBM. And then the second part is the JV, and we had some fantastic discoveries in 2024, so we'll be continuing to develop BBM and Charger whilst we bring online pipeline targets such along the BBM trend, which sort of includes Lando as well. And then we're going to bring in some old favourites back, like Empire is going to start coming back into play as well. So, we've produced world-class results from Charger and BBM, and Empire has always been a little bit dear to our hearts, and we've been waiting to get stuck back into that, because that's the first high-grade discovery that we had on the ODNE project pre-Newmont, and it was actually the maiden drilling program that we had on the project. We made that Empire discovery. So welcome, Andrew. Thanks for making the time. I know you've been under the pump getting things up and running with everyone down on site after a little bit of a break over New Year. And as I mentioned, we've got the discussion on 2 parts, which is our 100%. So I reckon we should just dig into the regional and our 100% Awale first. So, what makes the ODNE project such a standout opportunity and in the gold and copper exploration sector?
I honestly don't think there's any other greenfields ground like it. I think just with in terms of grade and scale potential. When we started working on it, that's how we describe it as moose pasture. There was some older data that we had that we followed up on, and from where that's gone and for where we are now is quite spectacular. But I think to drive that success, probably with the project, is the people. We have like you've alluded to before in these webinars, we have a really good geology team that work the ground. The geology team that we have made over 9 million ounces of economic gold discoveries as part of their career. I think that's is important for people to know that, just to show that we are a successful team, and we've got proven success in other parts of the world. And for me in West Africa, I think the other one is Côte d'Ivoire. I think it's a fantastic place to be. Like, it's a great jurisdiction, it's great people. It's economy driven, and it's got a fairly friendly exploration mining code. So as an explorer, once you prove the ounces, there can be quite a clear path to construction and production. So you've got that ability to move quickly. And I guess for somewhere like North America, that kind of timeline can be it can take decades, I think. But here, it can last in a decade, I think. What's the average, Andrew? About 7 years?
I think it's roughly 7 years, yeah. With the recent developments in Côte d'Ivoire have been around about 5 to 7 years. That the most recent one is 7 years, and that is including discovery. So it's pretty quick.
So yeah, exactly. So you can move quickly, which I think is great. And then most importantly, I think the jurisdiction. I think the ODNE project is top class. I've been lucky to have worked on world-class mineral systems before, and I'd argue that the geologic setting and alteration system here is up there with the best of them. I'd actually challenge people to maybe have a look and look at the mineralized systems in this part of the world, and actually compare the copper and gold endowment. copper, economic copper, just it's rarer than hen's teeth, I think, in the Southern West African Craton. So I'd like people to question, why do we have the copper endowment? It tells you that we're sitting on something different, and we're sitting on something quite special, especially when you see the gold grades that we've been hitting. I think we're just, in terms of the setting, we're just sitting on quite extensive and a structurally complex and unique geologic setting that is just not restricted to the permit that we've been working on, that we've made our discoveries. It's got arms and legs. I think the potential to expand the success beyond the joint venture ground is very high. I genuinely believe that.
No, absolutely, and we've got plenty of ground that is along those same regional and even crustal scale structural trends, and so that is the exciting stuff. So I think it's fair to say that we've got high expectations from our 100% ground. And the whole team's pretty excited to get stuck into them. So, and so, like I said, we're started. So we're doing some IP at the Fremen target. And so tell us a little bit about what we're expecting from that IP, and sort of what the early stage drill meter budget is that we've got for Fremen to drill at the toward the end of this month or in February.
Yeah. As economic geologists, I think we're all very excited. I think seeing what we've seen from the drill bit at BBM, and like you alluded to in terms of the crustal setting, in terms and the district scale, that I think we've managed to deconstruct the geology within the JV that has demonstrated economic levels of grade, and also we've demonstrated, at the moment, we're looking at continuity. So for me, I'd argue that's proof of concept of our regional targeting. So when we used to sit down and step back and go, where are we? And then we'd zoom back in. A lot of these targets were developed from that mindset of understanding where we are. And I think it's been very successful. And for me, it's proof of concept of our targeting and exploration methods. So applying the same methods to the 100% ground, I'm really, I'm quite bullish that I think we'll be successful, because the system is still there. And the scale of the system is still there, and it's just a case of getting out there and doing the work.
Yeah, and using the IP that we've developed, like not induced polarity IP, the intellectual property that we've developed, working on this unique project for the last 5-6 years now. So we do have a way, I guess. Don't we?
Yeah.
Going about what our business and making those discoveries. And so, and you did mention like how many ounces sort of between all our management that we've put together in various different roles over protracted careers for some of us, or for all of us really. We've been doing this for a while between us. I don't know how many years experience there is between us, but that's probably in the 60 odd range.
Yeah,
I think.
Might give away our names,
and so we've all got proven track records, and we're kind of lucky that we've come together as a team. Well, I see it as lucky to be CEO of a team such as ours, and it's comforting to know that we've got such a strong technical team. And so I think what we missed there was we've got 2,000 meters, I think, planned for RC meters planned for Fremen. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And I guess I was going to just an answer to that was the sort of the geological model. And how IP actually, maybe give a bit of background on why we're doing the IP.
Sure.
So I think for Fremen, we've got a pretty good idea of the model, the geology model, because it's not really that dissimilar to BBM and how we made that discovery. If you look at BBM, we had there wasn't many gaps. We managed to do the surface geochemistry, and we actually drilled on the geophysics and the geochemistry at 400 by 50 meter spacing on the surface geochemistry, which is a bit unusual, but because we'd walked the ground, we saw the geology, we were able to have confidence to drill it. But with the Fremen target, the surface is a little bit more complex, the regolith, and the way that the geochemistry behaves. So what we found with BBM is that the IP works very well to delineate the mineralized system, particularly the contact between the intrusive and the metasediments. So what we're hoping to achieve with the IP is to give us a little bit more confidence to see if we can chase that structure down from BBM, and we're more confident in where that's located. And that will help drive where we put the RC holes. So we've got about 2,000 meters of RC, just to test some of those ideas. But I've also put in, like I said, I think it's 1,000 meters of diamond that's proposed, because we're quite reactive in what we see in the geology. And I guess my comment on that is it's great that we've got funding, because we're able to react well. If we see some good geology with the RC, we can bring up the diamond and progress the target quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just gives us flexibility.
We even saw when back when we recorded a video about termites walking that Fremen anomaly, we did find float, what we would call float. So it's not positioned outcrop or anything like that, but it would not have moved far. Some moderately strained, what we would call BBM hanging wall rocks.
It's the hanging wall, yeah.
Exactly the same as what we see as you move from unmineralized to mineralized rocks at BBM in the holes that we've drilled up there. So, Fremen's pretty exciting for us, and that's really quite cool. And then, the other thing is that we are bringing in the portable PPB, which we haven't talked about before, and I think it's being commissioned next week. Is that right? Yeah,
that's correct. That's it. So the machines arrived, and we've got the team coming to do the training next week. So we'll do an orientation, and then we'll have it fully operational by in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, at most, which is really cool. And what does that do for us? What's the portable peak? Why did we spend the money? I think it cost us about 400,000 Australian dollars for all the consumables for about 25,000 samples plus the kit itself.
I think, in short, it's all about time. I think when you know yourself, Andrew, so planning the sampling, collecting the samples, and then sending them and waiting for assays to sort of drive the exploration play could be quite time consuming. And for the geologist and the shareholder alike, it could be a bit frustrating waiting for the assays to come in to understand what you have and how to progress the target. If you have a portable PPB lab, you basically get a window within 24 hours. You get a window where these mineralized zones are on gold and silver, and supported by other pathfinders. For me, that's amazing, because that we basically have the opportunity to make drilling decisions in real time in the field, and it basically cuts months off the exploration program. And when we have a relatively short exploration window, especially on greenfields ground, I think it can make a massive difference in terms of pushing and accelerating the targets.
Yeah,
I think that, and when you complement it with geophysical techniques like IP, you can start getting pretty close to what you're looking at to target, especially in areas where you might, both layers together are going to be better. That's how we're going to use it. But I think
there are examples already where with other companies that have been using the PPB in that they've been rapidly progressing targets in weeks rather than months. On some Australian projects targets have been developed with broad space drilling into infill sort of spacing, in weeks. And you know, the results are indicator results. It's not like accredited lab results, but the accuracy and precision of the machine appears to be is good enough to make those on the fly decisions, or help us make those on the fly decisions, and then we get the full assay results back, you know, in the normal course of time, which is, you know, 2 to 6 weeks, depending on, or, you know, 2 weeks to 2 months actually, depending on fire assay or fire assay gold through to multi-element results. So, but yeah, I mean, we're excited to have it on site, and it's going to be great to get it up and running again as well. It arrived on site over Christmas, and we have like Andrew said, we've got the some training starting next week. So that's really quite cool. And then I guess, you know, the way we look at the 100% Awale ground, it is the next big catalyst for Awale as well, from a shareholder perspective or an investor perspective, is, you know, discoveries on the 100% ground complement the joint venture, but also, you know, we have 100% of them, and there's no one else earning in on any discoveries that we make on that 100% ground. But moving on from there into the joint venture, you know, the JV ground, wow, I mean, you know, the last 12 months particularly have been truly exciting for all of us. Certainly, absolutely company changing results, and timing's everything, because, you know, we fixed up the company and righted the ship, and in January last year we made the BBM discovery, and then everyone ignored it, and we drilled some more holes, and then people started to take notice, and then we you know, had some absolutely cracking drill hits at Charger. So, but, you know, what, you know, from I guess, just from your perspective, what were those key achievements, and what are we going to be spending Newmont's money on in the upcoming field season? And I think that's a key thing too, that we are still running the project, and we are spending Newmont's money on the joint venture.
Yeah, I mean, look, just on your last point, I think the answer to what we're going to do is drilling and more drilling. I think, just given where we are with the discoveries, I think we're at a tipping point with a few of them and how we advance these targets. The models are holding together, so we to push those models, we have to drill test. We drill models, and we drill test to get answers. So we're just going to see how far we can take some of these more advanced project targets like Charger and BBM, for example. And they'll just continue to develop. We've got high hopes for Lando as well, and then we've got a few new targets that we'll also try and push on as well. So we're not sitting still on the permit. We're bringing new targets in as well. I think in terms of achievements, it's quite hard. There's some good ones, but it's quite hard to look past Charger, just because as geologists we love high grade, and high grade is the geology of the system is brilliant. But I think it's quite transformative in terms of how we looked at the project. Again, Andrew, it's sort of proof of concept. It's telling us that there's high grade fluid flow, and you know, when you have high grade and then you add some volume, like for example from BBM, you've got a real good chance to make the project work. So for me,
grade is king.
Grade is king, but it's not. It's also proving that, well, how many chargers do we have, and why actually is it there? And in terms of the geology, and they're just not one-off things, because the alteration style and the fingerprint of Charger is very similar to Empire, similar to BBM, what we've seen at Lando. So we've got a big plumbing system. Yeah. And so to see something like Charger, it gives us more confidence that what we're chasing can be big. It gives you that your odds are shortened somewhat. So I just feel like the geology is right now for the entire district. And Charger itself, you you don't need a lot of volume to clock up the ounce meter. So as an economic geologist, it's pretty exciting. I think BBM is great because we've as a sort of 100% Awale discovery, it's from pure greenfields, and just watching it develop. It's geologically, it's giving us volume, it's giving us consistency of grade. I think
it's a robust little. It's a robust
I think you refer to it as bread and butter. I think when we've been when we're in Switzerland, but it really is what it's showing everyone is that the district has the potential for big systems and big volume, and we've got potential for super high grade within the district. So for me, that really, it gives a bullish outlook on our model and what we can do with the drill bit.
Yeah, and we've been, we did start drilling at BBM before Christmas, and I mean, I was down there, in the last week of the week before Christmas. Unfortunately, brought malaria back with me, but anyway, that's an aside. I was pretty happy with what I was seeing in the drilling. Like we're hitting target geology in step out drilling, and so is that still how the team on the ground is feeling about what we've been doing at BBM?
Yeah, I think so, and it goes again just to show how consistent BBM is that every time we drill, we're hitting the target geology, and it's drilling within expectation. And now something like Charger, where we drill, we're now seeing things where we expect them to be. So when that happens, you become more confident about continuity. So not only is it mineralized, we're getting that continuity. So again, these are the steps towards development on these targets.
Excellent. And then we haven't really talked about it, but we did mention, we both said Empire a couple of times, and and like I said, it is our first discovery, and so we're drilling some more holes at Empire. We only ever drilled it down to sort of 100 odd meters vertical with one deeper hole in the system there. So it's nice to see Empire coming back into play. And then, as you mentioned, we're just blessed with pipeline. So there is Landower's pipeline. We've got on trend from BBM. There's Bobber and Fett targets, and there are other targets within the project that we're developing too, which will probably come into play, and we'll see the geochemistry from those come through during this field season between now and August as well. So how many meters, Andrew, have we got planned? RC meters and then DD meters have we got planned at this stage for the first half of 2025 on the joint venture?
So on the joint venture, RC is probably just north of 8,000 meters in the RC, and about 10,000 meters of diamond. So if you include what we're planning at Fremen, we're probably just north of 18,000 meters.
And yeah, so that's really exciting stuff, isn't it? Like, so that's a lot of meters in the first half of this year, and we've got, effectively, we don't have a long field season, and so we really understand that we need to get stuck into things between now and August 2025 when it starts to really get wet and on top of us. Is it, Andrew? I guess we probably need to close off because we've been talking for about 20-25 minutes, and we don't want to bore people to death. But is there any? It's not boring for us. This is the problem. But is there anything else?
25 minutes.
Is there anything else that you want to that you would like to throw in about what you're excited about with the projects or anything like that?
I think you've covered quite a lot. I think there's so much going on. I mean, there's a lot of targets with what we've planned beyond the first half, and I would argue that any of the targets that we drill have the potential to give something back, given the nature of the district. I think I've talked about Sector East a few times. I think I tried to plan a couple of really deep holes. There's some nice targets at Sector East. Sector West, another one that's not is open. It's it's like an intrusive host, and it normally goes over 1 kilometer, and that's ready to drill. And just to keep things going, we've got a new greenfields target that I'm really quite keen to push. It sits exactly between BBM and Charger, so it's in the right place. It's called Kenobi. It's got scale, it's got the right geologic setting, the surface geochemistry pathfinders are great. We just need to we've collected the samples, we just need to understand what the gold footprint is. But like you said, we've got the PPB machine, so it's going to be one of the first ones that we'll try. But I assume everybody now has picked up that someone is a Star Wars fan in the team, given we name our targets.
We like our sci-fi, but
we're not sitting still, Andrew. Because we know how things are, and also something like Kenobi is quite strategic if it sits between BBM and Charger and Empire.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the thing, and I think, one of the things that I always, when I talk to people, that I try and get across to them is I constantly get asked, why aren't you doing this and why aren't you doing that? And we're it's a blessing and a curse having so many pipeline targets. And we need to rate and rank those depending on where we are as a company, Awale, and also where Newmont is as well, because they are funding this, and we have our strat meetings with Newmont every year, and we work out a guideline on milestones and where we want to be that is both for Awale and for Newmont, and we don't have an unlimited budget. So some things get ranked above others, but nothing ever disappears, right? So everything is always sitting there, waiting in the wings, and to come into play when it works from the strategy perspective. And we're just seeing Empire has become back into play as part of that. We don't have a huge number of meters planned at Empire, but it's really a lot of some of it. There is a little bit of deeper drilling and a little bit of confirmation drilling. We never really did any shallow drilling at Empire. So so these are things that have sort of we have that have to be done, and I'm sure we'll see some nice results come from those holes at Empire. It's another robust target, albeit a bit smaller than the others at this stage, but absolutely open, down plunge, and a long strike as well.
I think this is probably something I should mention is with the work that we've done and the drill work that we've done and all the other targets, what it does actually updates the geology model for previous targets, and actually allows us to explore better. So what he's saying is that, yes, initially what we defined was a bit small, but after what we've seen at BBM and in the district from some visits that we've done, Empire is wide open, and I think we've got quite a robust model that I think we could chase. But you've always known there's a nice structural corridor within there, and there's plenty of other intrusives are in there, and they'll be mineralized. So that's a good thing. Something like BBM just opens things up like that for you. We actually end up going back to the original model, I think. Yeah.
We have come full circle on a couple of things, but this is the thing. It's about being open to your geology and what your geology is telling you at the time, and never sort of hanging the phone up on previous interpretations. They always sit there and bringing in new information from new discoveries into your old targets as well, because we know that they're all part of the same system. So it's look, it is exciting times for us. We're still well funded. Our treasury is still really good, and as you mentioned, that gives us the optionality to drill targets that are what we would call low hanging fruit. Fremen is absolutely low hanging fruit. On the other greenfields, we've got 2 more permits that should be granted. It is imminent. And then as soon as we've got those permits granted, we'll be flying geophysics on those and building targets. So, they are absolute greenfields targets up on those tenements further to the north. And the preference is to rate and rank targets up there. But if there is low-hanging fruit, high-order anomalies, again, we've got the treasury to push a target along if we think it's warranted. And so and then we've got Newmont funding on the JV ground. As you've just mentioned, we've got around about 16 to 18,000 metres planned on the JV, and then a couple of 2,000 metres planned at Fremen of RC, and with some a budget for some follow-up diamond drilling if warranted at Fremen as well. So we've got a program planned of I guess resource development sort of drilling at Empire, Charger and BBM at this stage, and then brownfields drilling around BBM, and then more greenfields or discovery drilling coming at Lando and along strike from BBM, and discovery drilling at Fremen. So as a junior explorer, I don't think you could ask for much more, and I think we're in for a really exciting half, and with plenty of news flow, and that news flow is going to start shortly. We'll have some initial results from that drilling that we started at BBM before Christmas. So keep watching. We'll keeping you updated, and have a read of the NR. The NR's got a bit more, just lays out what Andrew and I have just discussed. And but just watch this space, because I think there's some pretty exciting stuff coming our way. So thanks, Andrew, for your time. I'll let you get back to the guys and the core, and keeping everyone on path, because we're pretty busy down there.